Hey up and welcome back to Matt's Mindful Meals. Bit of a different one today because I've managed to get my hands on an MSR WHISPERLITE Universal. I've been wanting one of these for almost 20 years. So I'm going to go up to a viewpoint, going to make a couple of brews and show you how you can convert it from a gas stove to a liquid fuel stove. Anyway, I've got to get up to the viewpoint, so I'll see you when I get up there. Colours this time of the year are amazing. So I've arrived at the viewpoint. This is Nelson's Tower. It was built a couple of hundred years ago to celebrate Horatio Nelson's victory at the Battle of Trafalgar. Now they were built all along the coastline and they lit a beacon. So there was a big row of lights all over the coast of Great Britain. Anyway, I'll get myself set up where I'm going to do the filming. So as you can see, it's in memory of Admiral Lord Nelson. And I don't know if you can make out the top plaque, but it is dedicated to the Battle of Trafalgar on the 21st of October 1805. Fair old time ago. So the viewpoint from where we are now, that's Findhorn Bay, which is a tidal estuary and a natural harbour. The woods that are now central in the distance, that's Culbin Forest that I've camped in quite a lot. And the village that you can make out right at the end, that's called Findhorn. So, plan scuppered. You can hear that there's loads of chainsaw action going on. So you won't hear much of what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back down to home and I'll do the review on my meal machine. Speak to you in a bit. Hey up and welcome to my kitchen. So as you know, I had a bit of a nightmare today, so I've just come home and it started raining, so I'll do the first bit at least in the house now. The first bit is the gas, but before I do that, I'll explain why I wanted this. Now this particular stove I've wanted for about 20 years when I used to work in Blacks as an outdoor retailer. Now this stove runs on gas, which comes in the universal canisters, and it also runs on liquid fuel. Now the importance of that is when it's really, really cold, like last year there was a few times when I was using gas on other stoves and the gas was really struggling, and because it starts to separate out and the pressure drops and it's just coughs and splutters, and it was taking forever to get my boil in the bag stuff ready. That's one of the videos that you'll see in the past. So I thought I need an alternative. Now petrol or white gas, and this one even runs on kerosene, but I've not seen anywhere in the UK where you can go and buy kerosene. So this is a lightweight packable one that'll do both kinds of fuel. So what do you get in the box? Now in the box, I've actually got the instructions because it's quite a comprehensive set of instructions, as you'd think with something that runs on like quite a few flammable materials. So put that to one side for a moment. So what you get in the actual bag is, you get quite a sturdy bag with a good draw cord on it. Now inside the bag you will have a zipped pocket, because inside this, to convert it from gas to liquid fuels, you need to use the tool that's in here and change some of the valves, which I'll come to on a minute. But all the parts you need are in there. But the main bits you get, you've got a big windshield, because obviously when you're out in the winter and things, the weather doesn't tend to be as nice as it is in the summer. So the windshield folds out and you can wrap it around the stove. As you can see, I'm not going to need that in my kitchen, so I'll put that to one side. You also get a bottom plate so that if you're pouring it on any surfaces that you want to make sure don't burn, it'll actually protect it from that. So it's made of the same material as the windshield, or it's a disc. I won't be needing those today, so I can pop them to the side. So inside the actual bag, so for when you come to do, well, when I come to do the petrol later on, or white fuel, which I've got in here, you'll need the actual pressure regulator. I'll show you that in a bit. But when it comes out of the box, it's set up to run on gas. So let's talk about that. So as I've said, it folds up. So it's got a tripod configuration. Obviously you'll put stuff on there. But inside this, you've also got a preheat tube. So it'll preheat any of the gas to get it to the right pressure. So when it comes out, it burns efficiently. Now, when it comes to doing the fuel, you've actually got a pre-heating bowl here. So you can prime the heater up. Whereas again, we'll show you that when we go outside. But it's connected to your actual bottles by a connection, which, as I've said, goes a male to female screw. Now, when you get this kind of gas and it's really, really cold, it's different kinds of mixture of gas. You've got butane, propane mixes. Now, different percentages help you out in different kinds of weather. But last year, when it was below -4, was on the coldest night that I camped out in last year, the gas was really, really struggling. So that's what made me decide for next winter, I'm definitely going to have to get one of those. So put that to one side. So with this, to help you out in that situation, you can actually invert the canister, which helps with the mix of it, because the more flammable gas is actually the most dense. So that's the one that drops to the bottom. So if you tip it upside down, it helps you out a little bit more. So you do get this stand with it. So what you need to do with this is you need to pop the stand on. So that it clicks into place, like so. Start it up in the normal way. So I've made sure that it's switched off. Now, all of the joint areas rotate, so there's no problem turning this around. This pipe's quite stiff because obviously it's never been lit before, this stove. So what we can do is we can try it now. This is the actual genuine MSR piezo igniter. So I'm going to try this for the first time and see if the piezo igniter works fine. So see if we can hear the hiss. Woo! Always jump, don't I? So as you can see, it works quite well with the piezo igniter. So obviously it's going to work even better with a proper flame. Straight away. So we'll see how controllable it is. So that's on full blast. So I'll see how I can actually regulate it. It might get better because once the gas is heated up in that little tube, it's going to make it a heck of a lot more efficient. So I'll see how much control we've got here. So I'm turning. So I can hear it getting a little bit quieter, because sometimes you just want to simmer stuff. So control on the gas. As you can see there, is quite good. So if I turn it off, and it goes off straight away. Now obviously it's brand new, so the oil that it's got in there for when it's been in storage for however long from when it was manufactured will burn off. But what I need to do now is let this cool, and then I'll show you how to change it over from being gas into the liquid fuel. And now it's all cool to the touch. So to convert this into the liquid fuel way, simply, first of all, take that off. Make sure that that's off. And we need to take the gas off. So what we'll need to do now is in your spare parts, you'll see you've got this piece. Now this piece connects into your pressurizer through that small hole. I'll give you some close-ups in a second. We need that piece. We'll need a little multi-tool. Now, this bigger hole is for the nut that secures the hose end. And then the one that's in the middle, this is the way I remember it, so in the middle, undoes the valve that's in the middle of your actual stove. That's quite simple for me to remember. So inside here, you've got a little bit of oil for the lubrication of the actual pump. Now that's probably what I could smell anyway, and you could see. There's a few spare O-rings. Now inside this bag, there are 2 other fuel nozzles. Now they're both marked quite easily, well, quite easy to see. You've got one with UG on it. I very much doubt you'll be able to see on this. And then you've got one that has got UK on it. Now the UK isn't for the United Kingdom, it's for kerosene. Now the difference in size in those two isn't that big. So if you were doing it in the dark, you'd really have to have a good old look on that one. But I'm going to put in the white gas. So I'm going to use the UG one. So pop that away because I don't want to lose any parts. So with this, you can see that there's a hexagonal nut on there. I think it's probably about 8 to 10 mil. So you need to loosen that off. Oops. There we go. So loosen that off, and then I can rotate this off. So inside here, you'll have a few O-rings. That are quite important, obviously, because you don't want any fuel leaking out. So with this piece, just slot it on and screw it on with your fingertips until it becomes finger tight. Now you don't need to give it the 3 white knuckles of tension. Just nip it on. There you go, that was plenty. So the final bit that you have to do is to remove the bottom cup. Now the bottom cup will come important in a bit because that's what we use to prime the heat tube when we're using liquid fuels. So simply unscrew this. There is an arrow drawn on it that you should be able to see. There you go. So we unscrew this. Now we've got this little bit of mesh here. Now you will see that where the mesh is, it's got a little lip. So I'll, well, not always, because this is only the second time I've ever done it, pop it back on in that way. So this is where it gets a little bit more complicated because you need to remove the hose. So if you pull the hose out and move it up, the whole unit comes away. So you can put that to one side for a second or two. Turn this upside down. So that unit there, which I hope has got UG on it. Yes, UG, because that was what was used for the gas. Now remember the center one. Pop the center one on and unscrew it. Put that to one side. Now inside here, you've got a tiny little needle. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can see that on the video. Now that needle's quite important because you need to make sure that goes in the center of your gas one because it'll rattle and it'll clean any carbon deposits up that come inside this. So when you pop it on, make sure that's in the center and you don't bend it and you twist it on gently with your fingers at first. Now with the same central piece, just give it that little bit of a nip up. Okay, not too tight, just nip it up. And now we're ready to put it back together again. So on one of the arms, you can see you've got this little C. So that's to hold the hose. Now, you know, obviously, that the preheat tube's got to go in through that hole. So you more or less won't let you put it in incorrectly. So pop that in through there. Tiny bit fiddly, but that's in. So the next thing you need to do, as I said, put a little mesh collar over the top. Then your little cup. Press your cup down. Screw it the opposite way to how you screwed it in. Finger tight. And now you're ready to set it up for your liquid fuel. So, husbandry. If you're out in the woods or in the snow anywhere, make sure you put all your bits away straight away. Because the last thing you want to do is go online and have to order some new ones because you've lost the parts. And that's why this bit is really handy, because you can just pop your parts away. And zip them up and forget about them until you need to convert it. So what I will do now though is, remember when I showed you that little needle? I'll just shake this, but be nice and quiet, and you should hear it move. So when it does that, that little needle goes through the actual hole and it just moves any carbon build-up out of the way. So, next thing. This is liquid gas. I'm not going to light it in the house because A, I'm not that brilliant and I'd probably jump out my skin when it does light up, but I think the wife would go mad as well. And being that she's in the living room being quiet. So what you need to do with this is, it's got a child-proof lid on. So I'll take that away. Okay, don't fill this up too much, because obviously you've got the displacement that that's going to take. So I think this is the one where the fuel comes, and this is the one where the air goes in to pressurize the system. So you need to figure out a way and to slide it in, and then you basically just twist it nice and tight. Now before you put any pressure in, make sure, now as I say, everything is labelled up quite well. See if I can tilt that. You've got the plus and minuses which show you open and closed. So turn it till it's closed. And then you can pressurise it by just pumping this up and down. Now the more you've got in, the less pressure you'll have to put in, because remember, gas compresses, liquids don't. Now, from going in there, it can be anything up to 40. But from doing a little bit of research, you can start to feel when the pressure builds up. Once the pressure builds up, you can back it off. Now, as the one with the gas, that's secured in with a thread. Now this one isn't secured in with a thread. It's a simple bayonet. Okay, so that's what this little handle's for. That is so that it doesn't pop off under any pressure. So that actually goes into the little lugs that are on the back. You see these little lugs here? So what I'll do, I'll connect it up. So this needs to come higher. This slides into there. Push it in as far as it goes. Push that down and then click that into place. Now, once that's in place, like it is now, you can't physically pull that out because you've got this metal bar holding it into place. Okay, so that's going nowhere. So when you've actually got this working, it lies on its side. Pull it back towards me so you can see it better. And that kind of configuration. And then obviously you've got the windshield that you can put there. Now, when I'm outside in a little while, the rain has stopped. I'm going to put it onto my meal machine that you've seen in some other videos. That's nice and made of metal, and it's got a little grid on the top. So I won't actually need to take any of that out with me. But if I'm going to be cooking on, forgive me, on any wood, I'll put that on to save scorching the wood anyway. So I think it's time to go and give this a shot. But before I do, what it does say in the actual instructions for this, that it can be a football size flame when you're starting it off. So be warned, but apparently that is normal. So I'll catch you outside, just get my coat on and get ready. Hiya, so as you can see, we're safely in the garden now because I don't want to be making a petrol fire in my kitchen because the wife will go mad about that. So connected fully to the MSR bottle with the white gas in there. So pour a little bit more pressure in. Now, as I said, you've got the little cup at the bottom. So you need to prime this first. So as I say with the gas, so once you first start burning it, the gas comes straight through, but eventually it becomes more economical and more efficient because it's coming through this little tube that gets preheated. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the camera angle slightly so that you can see how I'm going to light it to prime it up. So here we go, first time I'm ever going to light one of these. So I'm going to open the fuel up slightly. Now it says in the instructions to half fill the cup. So I'm going to let it out. Now this is the first time I've done it, so hopefully it's going to work. Can't see anything happen. You can just about hear it coming. And now the cup is starting to fill, so it's half full. I'm going to switch it off. Okay, now it did continue to come out slightly. Okay, so what you need to do now is to ignite this fuel. So obviously for this, you're not going to be able to use a piezo igniter. So as you can see, that's now lit. So I'll go back to the other camera angle and hopefully we can do the rest from there. So as you can see, it is quite a big flame. Now, it says in the book, and I've seen other people say 2 to 3 minutes for this to burn down. Now, what this is doing, it's heating up the fuel that's stayed inside the tube and heating up the whole thing, so it's actually going to be efficient. Once this dies down, we'll be able to then relight it. So it's not fully gone down yet. Almost gone. Okay. So I think we're there. So let's give it a shot. So open it up again. It does say that can sometimes happen. Now I do not need to light it again because there's enough flame left inside of the actual cup. So let's see what it's like on full power. Now it's a nice clean blue flame. Now I'll turn it up, I'm going to turn it up as far as I can. Okay, that's on full power. Now it does say to add another couple of pumps of pressure in. So I've done that. Yeah, so you can see that the metal's now starting to glow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this a shot at boiling some water. Notice how it's a nice clean blue flame. One of the things I am going to be looking out for is to see how much soot it gives. Now obviously this is white petroleum, so it shouldn't give much. I've not tried it on unleaded, which sometimes can be a little bit more sooty. So that's at 2 minutes and it's almost there. Up to 3 minutes. Now, if I'd got the windshield around it, because there's still some air moving across, it'd be more efficient, so it'd probably take a little bit shorter than that. As you can see, steam's starting to come off it now, so we're almost there. Anyway, if you've liked this video, I normally go out and cook nice meals in the woods and things. So think about subscribing, which you'll see the button pop up, and you'll see another video for some other kind of video I'm doing. This is really boiling now, so I'm going to take it off. In fact, I'm going to switch it off and see how long it takes to go out. There you go, it's out. I'm going to make me coffee, and I'll take this apart once it's cooled down. And yeah, so I think this is definitely going to be a great thing for the winter. Anyway, so take care. Draw!